Hello, my peoples, my brothers and my sisters. Um, there is a word from the Lord. I haven't been up here in a while, but I've been God's been working with me. But yeah, we're here now, so that's all that matters. But the thing. Well, the scripture is coming from John chapter 5, and it's about when Jesus healed the man, the crippled man, the paralyzed man at the pool of Bethesda. So yeah, I'm about to go ahead and get into it. So the word reads this: after this was a feast of the hold on. Okay. After this there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there is in Jerusalem by the sheep gate a pool in Aramaic called Bethesda, which has 5 roofed colonnades. In these lay a multitude of invalids, blind, lame, and paralyzed. One man was there who had been an invalid for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there, he knew that he had already been there for a long time. And he said to him, "Do you want to be healed?" The sick man answered him, "Sir, I have no one to put me into the pool when the water is stirred up, and while I'm going, another steps down before me." And Jesus said to him, "Get up, take up your bed, and walk." And at once the man was healed, and he took up his bed and walked. So, I guess the title of this would be, stop guessing. The title of this is, "Do you want to be healed?" So, when I was reading last night, God led me to this passage. And the thing that really spoke to me is when Jesus asked the man, "Do you want to be healed?" So I wrote some things down that don't necessarily have to do with this exact scripture, but it all ties in. So first thing I wrote down, it was like Matthew chapter, one of the Beatitudes, and it says, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." The second thing I wrote down was from John chapter 5. Do you want to be healed? And the third is from, I think it's Luke, when Jesus ran across the centurion with faith, with so much faith that he marveled at him. And he said, "I too am a man," this is paraphrase, "but I too am a man with authority. I say to one, go, and he goes, and to another, come, and he comes." And that he was talking about how he came to Jesus because he wanted him to heal his servant. And Jesus asked him, "Why do you come to me?" And he said, I am a man. I'm a man under authority too. I have the power to say to one, go, and he goes, and the power to say to another, come, and he comes." And basically, he realized and he recognized the authority that Jesus had. And so we're just gonna keep going. So the question to be asked is, why didn't Jesus choose any of the other invalids? I don't know how to say it, but Why didn't he choose anybody else? Like, why did he go to that one man? You know? Like he said, it was filled with, the blind, the sick, the lame. But why did Jesus go to him? And I wrote down all the others had hope. And I wanted to put hope in quotation marks. But this man didn't. And when I say all the others had hope, I mean, it's like everyone else had somebody to get them to that pool. They had somebody when the angel came down and stirred up the waters. The people everybody else had a chance, But this man didn't. He had no one. Whenever he would try to get to his blessing, his miracle, his breakthrough, somebody would always get there before him. And he had no hope because he had no chance. So, in the scriptures, it also says how the man was laying there, like Jesus could tell that he was laying there for a very long time. Just wallowing and sitting in his affliction. And I don't know, I heard something on the radio. I heard a pastor preaching on the radio about, it's like he probably got sicker from laying in that bed so long, from laying in that same place so long, than his original affliction. It's so often that we stay in places so long, we hold on to things so long that, it ends up, holding on to it hurts us so much more than, what originally hurt us, And, we can stay in a place so long, we can hold on to bitterness, we can hold on to anger, things that, naturally we might be able to walk and, see and speak, but spiritually it paralyzes us and it cripples us, and we can't move and, function the way that God would love for us to move and function, because we have stuff that we don't want to let go of. And I don't know, the big thing is, like, when Jesus asked him, do you want to be healed? Jesus asked him, do you want to be healed? And instead of the man, he's been laying in that bed for 38 years. And instead of him answering, yes, I want to be healed, he gave Jesus a reason why he couldn't be healed. And they said the sick man answered him, Sir, I have no one to put me into the pool when the water is stirred up. And while I'm going, another steps down before me. So, this was just I wrote this down too, basically he gave Jesus a reason why he couldn't have what he wanted. He wanted to be healed, because every time his chance for healing would come, he would go. He would try to make it, but he would never make it. And I guess that's a testament to us trying to find healing, find peace, find happiness, find joy within our own strength. It's like we see other people getting their breakthrough and their happiness and their whatever it may be, whatever the case may be for you in, things that, whether it be I always bring up relationship, whether being in a relationship or a job or, a car, a position, whatever it may be, whatever you think, whatever you see other people finding their happiness in, you think that if you could get to it, if you could get to that, then you would get your happiness too. You would get your breakthrough too. But so often that's not the case. That's almost never the case. Because true happiness, true contentment only comes in Christ. Like any position, any status, and I don't know, whatever your thing may be, like outside of Jesus, if it's not of Christ, if you're letting that dictate your happiness, if you're saying, if I have this, I will be happy, then that is your God, and you're outside of the will of God. You're in sin. That's idolatry. Because the only satisfaction we can have is in Christ. But the pool was the thing that he thought was, his breakthrough and where his happiness came from. And he saw everybody else trying to get to the pool, trying to, dip their feet in the water so they could be healed. And he thought that was the only way. He thought since, Jesus came and asked him, do you want to be healed? And he thought that, Jesus was gonna, he thought that the pool was the only way that he could be healed. But normally when people, it's just my human rationale. If somebody asks you if you want something, why would we think that they didn't have the intention to give it to us? Jesus asked him, do you want to be healed? And the man answered, gave him a reason why he couldn't get his healing. He didn't say, yes, I want to be healed. He gave him a reason why he couldn't get to his healing, why he didn't have his healing. And I don't know, it's like, that goes back to the authority of Christ. He didn't recognize who he was speaking to. He didn't recognize the authority that this man Jesus Christ had. And he has the power to do whatever he wants. So when he asked the man, do you want to be healed? He planned on healing him. Like he had the power and the authority to heal him. And another question I ask is, why do we limit God to our situation? Why do we limit him to our level of ability in a situation? It's like it was an impossible situation for the man, for the crippled man. And it's a thing that is people ain't changed. Look, the Bible is just a reflection of every character, every story, every instance in the Bible is just, it's the same thing. There's nothing new under the sun. People been the same way, limiting God to their situation. If it's impossible for me, then it's impossible for God too. That's the mindset, that's the lie that we believe. And he limited Jesus to his situation and his level of ability. He couldn't do it, so he figured God couldn't do it either. And that goes to another thing. Like, we don't believe in the power that he has. Like, we don't believe that he is omnipotent, that all power comes from him. Any power that any man in this earth alive has, any power of a principality, all power in this world, all authority is given by Jesus. Whether if a man comes into power, if he's a king, he only has that power. Governors, they only have the power that they have because God allowed them to have it. You know, all power comes from him. He is the start of everything. He is the beginning and the end. You know? And yeah, it's just, it was a real life situation. So I want a dog. And you know, before this has been something that's been on my mind since, you know, since the summertime really. And you know, there's this dog I've been wanting. It's at my grandma's house. And you know, when I first met the dog, it was like, oh man, I really like this dog. I really like the mannerisms or whatever. But you know, in the apartments that I stay in, you know, at the time, like, it was like a really expensive like security deposit to have pets. And you know, I'm thinking, like, in my mind, it's like, well, you know, I don't have no job, you know, I can't really afford a dog, you know. So you know, there's this program, like, it's like an ESA, you can get an emotional support animal. And I figured, you know, since you know, I struggle with depression, you know, I'm thinking, like, oh well, I can just use that. You know, like, well, you know, I have this, you know, this illness, and I can use it. You know, I can get I can get the dog registered as an ESA, so you know, I don't have to pay all that money. And you know, at the time, I thought there was nothing wrong with it. I thought it was like the best idea in the world. You know, I started doing research and everything, looking up how much it costs to register an ESA and all of that stuff. And you know, that just you know, it was you know, marinating in my mind for a long time. And you know, all that time went by, and you know, I never made the move to, you know, starting to put things in action. You know, because you know, that system has been abused. Like, people, you know, are registering their dogs just so, doing the same thing I was doing, abusing the system, trying to cheat the system, and register. I don't know, basically trying to the act of trying to make it easier on themselves is causing the heartache of so many other people that really need emotional support animals and therapy dogs and stuff like that. So, you know, I'm thinking, like, yeah, I'm gonna get this ESA, and there's not gonna be a problem with it. You know, trying to do it in my own strength and using my own cunning, which came from a sinful place. You know, and you know, so you know, months go by, a couple months go by, and you know, just now, you know, I'm thinking, like, man, I really want that dog. I really want that dog. So I go see my psychiatrist, and you know, I asked him, like, what do I have to do to, you know, get an emotional support animal? And he was like, well, you have to get the dog trained and everything, basically going through all the, you know, requirements and everything, because he talked about how people, you know, are abusing the system, and if the dog bites somebody, and if the dog bites somebody and, you know, finds out that the dog's not trained, and, you know, I signed off on it, that's going to be, I'm trying to save you legal troubles. You know what I'm saying? And that's going to put me in jeopardy, that's going to put you in jeopardy. And, you know, he said something that was from God, because, man, he's a Christian too. And he said something that God was speaking through him, but I didn't perceive it because I was still thinking in a sinful mindset, trying to do this my own way. He said, I'm not telling you not to do it, but if you do it the right way. And so, you know, the right way to me was, okay, well, you know, I got to get the dog trained to be an ESA, knowing I don't need an emotional support animal. I'm not that bad off. My case isn't that bad to need an emotional support animal. So, you know, I go and I talk to my mom, and she asked a question that was from God. And she asked me, like, you know, why do you want an emotional support animal? Do you want it because you need it, or because you don't want to pay that money? And that instant, it was like, because I don't want to pay the money, you know? And, at that instant, my sin was uncovered. The sin, I didn't even know. I didn't even know I was trying to do something in my own power. I didn't even know that, I was in sin, trying to do things my own way and not getting the thing that I wanted, which is the dog. And it's I guess it goes back, like, all I had to do reading this story right here and looking at my situation with that, it's the same thing. Like, I was trying to, get the thing that I wanted in my own strength. And I wrote down another thing. It said you don't have to lie. Hold on, where is it? When you lie and cheat, you're admitting your incompetence and walking in that inadequacy, because you know that in and of yourself, you're unable to achieve what you cheat to attain. So in myself, I knew that I wasn't able to, get that dog and pay all the money and, have everything squared away, the right way. So I figured I'm a lie and cheat, and I'm a steal, and I'm a finesse the system. And, God uncovered my sin. And I don't know, why lie and cheat when all we have to do is ask him for the things that we want. Just like Jacob, he didn't have to, cheat Esau out of his birthright, because God already said the older shall serve the younger, from their birth. But Jacob and his mother, thinking that God's word wasn't true, we're gonna help God out, and we're gonna trick your father Isaac into giving you the birthright. And he didn't have to do that, because God had already said, like, hey, this is yours. And basically the moral of everything is, ask and it shall be given unto you. When Jesus asks you, do you want this? Do you want to be healed? Do you want this? Do you want that? Whatever it may be, whatever he may ask you that you want. All we have to do, let your answer be yay or nay. Don't give no reason why you can't have it. Don't give no reason why you're unworthy of it. He knows that we're unworthy of anything that he can give us. But his grace, his courteous goodwill towards us, he still extends that. He still wants to provide for us. And yeah, I mean, his grace is sufficient. We don't have to lie. We don't have to cheat. We don't have to depend on ourselves to get the things that we want. All we have to do is ask him. And in his perfect time, he will give us the desire. If you delight yourself in the Lord, he will give you the desires of your heart. He already knows what we need before we even ask. So there's no need of me saying a whole bunch of vain words, a whole bunch of vain phrases, and building up stuff, when God already knows what we need of before we even ask him. All we have to do is come to him with a pure in heart, with a pure heart. Only the pure in heart shall see God. Blessed be the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Come to him with a pure heart, pure intentions. And you will see God.